marry me?
It was like an out-of-body experience.
Cyclone. One more time.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
This is happening in real
I
life.
felt so happy. Tell me something I don't know,
It
Dad.
really surprises you.
Absolutely. Well, I can see you're welcome back. Do you want to get married in 6 months?
This is true love. I think this happens every day.
Welcome to Dear Future Bride. Today's guest is Ebonie Cooper. She is married to professional cricketer Tom Cooper, and while her wedding might have looked effortless from the outside, the journey, like most, was anything but simple. Between planning around a high-profile sporting career, time apart, and the pressure to make it all look perfect, Ebonie navigated the reality of what it actually takes to pull off a wedding in the middle of real life. And through the planning process, Ebonie and I became really good friends, and not to brag, but we've currently got a snap streak of 824 days. I'm so glad that she's here to share a bit more about what her journey was really like. Ebonie, welcome.
Thank you. That is the best. That streak has been probably the strongest relationship I've had in a long time.
You and Tom have spent a lot of time apart. How did that shape the way that you planned the wedding, and how did you make decisions together?
We didn't. I did it. Okay. No, it definitely had its challenges. It made the decision making somewhat a little bit more clunkier, and it meant that a lot of the time it's an A or B choice. I think the saying of our wedding planning was, we'll just take it out of the flower budget. It's fine. We'll just take it out of I don't think the amount of flowers we had should have been that, given the amount of budget got taken from it. So him traveling was tricky, but we're just used to it, just the ownership.
When you started planning, did you have a strong sense of what you both wanted, or was it more of a process of figuring it all out?
Tom and I both always wanted to have a family, but having that big wedding was never our dream, or we didn't really have set ideas or goals. We hadn't really spoken about what a wedding day would look like. So going into the process, I remember starting it and going, I am a party goer, not a party planner, and I don't know where to even start or what to do. And I remember reaching out to all these different people, Tom and I going, I don't know, what does that mean? Or who is this person? Or it was just such a big thing to take on without knowing what your goal was. I knew that I wanted to get married. I knew that I wanted to be small. I knew that I wanted it to be this big party, and that was it. And everyone else was making this bigger than Ben Hur thing. I was like, I don't want to elope. I don't want to end up with 1,000 people. Where's the middle ground?
Did you have a lot of opinions coming at you when you're right at the beginning of what you should do?
Yes. And none of them sat well with me. And it was not from a negative way. It wasn't like, oh, Mum wants this and Tom's on wants that. It was never a negative conversation. It was just more like, oh, none of that is making sense to how we feel. There wasn't anything that went, oh, yes, let's lean into that. Like, I didn't want to have it in Adelaide. I didn't want to have it in Brisbane. Like, the idea of eloping, everyone's like, but we'll be there, right? You'll still invite us. Like, that's kind of goes against every idea of what an elopement is. So it was really overwhelming, and I didn't want to let anyone down. And that's where I think when I go back and reflect on our time, I was so worried about letting people down that I didn't stick to those instant gut choices. And that's having the strength of someone in that beginning to turn around and go, hey, this was your plan. This is what you mapped out. Stick with that and stay true to yourself, because it can get so easily lost.
And how did you manage to handle dealing with all of those opinions coming at you and it not sitting right?
I drank, Kiera. I drank a lot. I still do. I think I sent you a video of me drinking a rosé on Tuesday. That's after my Monday. No, okay. It was hard. It was challenging. I think the way that I tried to balance out taking on people's opinions without losing who we were was to try and listen to them, hear them, and then place what they wanted somewhere within the wedding in some capacity. For me, having Mum walk me down the aisle, she didn't ask for that, but I knew that she wanted to be a part of the wedding in some way. So little things that just, instead of getting so caught up in ticking boxes straight away, I think you were the voice of reason in staying true to who you are and finding that. And how can, I'd always come to you and go, this and this. And you gave some brilliant ideas around how I can have Dad involved. And I've learned this from Tom as well. I'm the worst for always giving people a straight answer straight away. You don't always have to respond to people straight away when you're under that much pressure. So giving yourself that time to answer and giving them a solution with what they're asking for as well. depending on your process, a few weeks or maybe a month or two. Like, we haven't got to our photographer run list yet. You'll be included. Let me get back to you. And just holding space for what that looks like. There's so many things that I did that I think I would do differently just because I was trying to solve so many problems of everyone else. We didn't have high heated pressure, but they don't know that you're getting 20 phone calls or 20 messages from your girlfriends and your brothers and whatever else saying, I need this, when's this, why can't I bring my kid? And they don't know the weight of the pressure that you're feeling from everyone else. They just think, what do you mean I can't bring my child? Why are you being so defensive about this? Or it's really easy for them not to put themselves in your shoes because they might not have been married in this style of wedding where you're constantly contactable and it's a really different time to manage to bring something together too.
People feel the pressure of having to invite everybody and just to please friends and family about their plus ones or kids or whoever at your wedding. And it's about holding strong and don't be disrespectful to people when you're making these decisions. But at the end of the day, it's your wedding. It's not their wedding. You shouldn't have to invite everybody.
Yeah. And as you know, we were really strict about who, and it was tricky with some of our friends where we had to draw the line because the venue size and the style of wedding we wanted to have, but more so that reception, the most important part for Tom and I, that party side of, thank God we got through the ceremony, now we can relax. And that was such a small venue for what we wanted to achieve. And we had to be really strict. And I think I don't know if you actually said this to me, if you wouldn't pay for their dinner, don't invite them to your wedding. So, and that kind of staying true to, if I wouldn't go out and go, oh, I've got you covered. And I wish I was probably a little bit more stricter in that sense. And probably if you wouldn't pay for a high price dinner, do not invite them because it's not just your per head at the reception. It's everything else. It's the day before, it's the day after, it's so much more. And if they're causing you grief and they're causing you trouble and you're not going to be friends with them in 12 months anyway, don't have them here.
Were there any unexpected challenges in the planning that really tested you both as a couple, apart from Tom being away?
Staying true to what our style was, I think, was one that we had to keep relying on you to say, hey, don't forget, this is what. But having a wedding planner, like having you be our centerpiece of everything was the one thing that took away the hardest bit was staying true to who we were. Like, what did we want? How do we want to feel? What sort of style? Who we were? I was really worried about losing because, budget always goes over. There's so many things that you can be loose on, but as soon as you lose sight of who you are and finding vendors who suit who you are, I think that made it a lot easier because it's so easy as, here, she's the most expensive, she's going to be the best, or he's the most popular, let's book him, or someone else used him. And it's just so easy to get caught up and lose sight of everything that you want to achieve at the end of that day and being absolutely present throughout the whole time instead of being caught up on why isn't this here and why isn't that there. And yeah,
that connection, it's a recurring thing I'm finding with conversations, that trusting the vendors to do what they do best is so important, because then you're not getting caught up micromanaging everybody and stressing about if they're doing the right thing and creating the vision. If you just find the people, spend more time at the beginning stages, because you can get so caught up in just getting things booked quickly and just getting it done just to tick things off the list, just to feel productive or feel like you're in a rush to move through it. And having that right support, and obviously, of course, having a plan is ideal.
Anyone that does a wedding without a planner, you're either unemployed, have too much time, or you're an event specialist yourself. I can't imagine ever doing what we did within 6 months too. Remember that? I was like, oh, hey, maybe we'll get married in next year. I think you said this, or I said, or maybe this year. And you're like, why not July? It was that kind of this whole thing that just, you went from, I'm not sure of a date and time, to, hey, Tom, do you want to get married in 6 months?
I think I was just okay, let's commit, let's do it, make the decision.
I need that. That's something that I need, because I go, oh, yeah, okay. And Tom's very go with the flow, but we're both like that. And we need someone to go, well, here's 3 choices. And that's what I said at the beginning of that sort of A and B. cut the noise, like just cut the noise and just keep it so simple to keep your life simple.
Was there anything people told you through the planning that would be a big deal, but that turned out to not matter?
Everyone would say, oh, you got to make sure your dance floor is the best dance floor. And so I put out a requests and our invites for people to request their own song, and that to me ended up changing the dynamic of the dance floor, and I should have just let the DJ and the band do what they do best. And then the other thing was dress code of the wedding. What are you going to do? I love this whole idea of everyone just wear black. Just to the aesthetics of the wedding, just wear black or pink or blue, whatever it is. I end up putting dress your best, and so you've got quite a diverse look of what that can be. And lucky for us, it didn't impact us, but just being less worried about upsetting people and just getting on with what the facts are.
It's getting caught up in what people think you should be doing. Scrap the song list because it creates a weird vibe on the dance floor. Unless you have a really good DJ that can curate a playlist to really have that smooth transition. And if people are requesting random songs, then it can be a total flop. It's kind of just like not trusting the vendor to do their job, and might as well just get a playlist going on in the background rather than
exactly a little Spotify shuffle. I think the biggest thing that I think we keep touching on is trust yourself, listen to yourself, take people's advice on, don't let it control your decisions, and trust your vendors. Like, you're booking them and you've done your research, you trust them. Don't try and then control them and change who they are too, because it doesn't work.
Did you find that you got really obsessive over anything in particular through the planning?
What was it? Was it the photographer or the videographer? Videographer, I was like, yeah, I just want a videographer. I think it was the photographer I was really set on. And food. I think they were my two, were they? Can you remember?
Well, there was hair and makeup. That was a big one.
Yes. I mean, I thought that was going to be a whole side note. The hair and makeup that was my biggest thing. I was like, I don't care about anything else as long as enough alcohol. People drinks, lots of drinks, lots and lots of drinks, lots of snacks, and that I don't look, because I didn't know anyone in the area, and I didn't, in Adelaide, I can kind of go, oh, these are the good ones, like you'll be safe in these ones. Going into an area where you've got to go by that word of mouth, it was really scary, like really, really scary. And I think there's so many, like, your wedding photos are really expensive, and there's such a beautiful time to capture with your family and this amazing thing that you always want to look back on. And I was so scared of looking like a smash crab, like, just overworked or underworked. Like, I was really, really worried about it. And my hair, I think that's the other thing I would suggest is leading up to the wedding, I got so focused on my skin, hair and makeup, even in the lead up, that it actually did a disservice. I was doing so much to my skin, it flared up. I was doing so much to my hair that I ended up with like 2.5 heads worth of extensions in there. Like, it was just like I had to rein it back probably 6 weeks before to go, whoa, like, just relax. It's going to be okay. You don't need it all. And again, staying true to who you are, and just, your husband's marrying you or your boyfriend or fiance is marrying you for who you are and what you look like at that point. One day you do not need to look like a Victoria's Secret model, because that's the pressure of society of you have to be perfect in your wedding photos. I think my favorite wedding photos of us is when we're being absolutely silly and fun. And, there's a photo of our maid of honor and best man and us walking up the hill. And I think we were actually teasing one of them at the time over something silly, and we're having the best laugh. They're my favorite, not the curated ones that are editorial style or anything like that. They kind of sit at the back of the book, and they've never been my screensaver on my phone at all.
So many people get really caught up in the skincare and the hair, and as you said, it can really backfire on you because your skin's not used to this amount of microblading, and like too many extensions can rip out your hair as well. And so I guess that comes down to back to the trust of the vendors to advise you on certain things, and especially with the photographer, picking somebody that has the knowledge of how to get those emotions out of you so you're not feeling like you're posing, and you get all of these fun photos and you feel comfortable in front of the camera rather than get overly staged pictures.
Yeah, yeah. And this is one piece of advice I will push on to brides everywhere is get a videographer. Don't worry about a photographer. Like photographers come and go, they're wonderful. After you saying that, they are. Photographers are absolutely fantastic. It's great. Get a videographer. I love our wedding videos so much. And just even now I hear certain songs in our video that I just go, oh, that's nice. Like it is just the moment that I love our video. Absolutely love our video. And it's just one that I think you were like, oh no, babe, you got to get a videographer. Like you can't go through it. Like, nah, just photos.
I think that this will be a recurring thing in like almost every interview because
Yeah.
the movement is different. Like the still photos are beautiful. Get a photographer. Don't scrap the photographer. At the end of the day, you're going to have grandparents that pass away. You're going to have children after the wedding. And this is the moment that you can actually see the movement, see the expressions and the emotion and all those little things that you miss. And it takes you back to that day rather than photos. And you're like, oh, that's beautiful.
I've got a video of my nana and my mum hugging. Like, there was a whole little family dance thing happening that they weren't really dancing. They're on the side having a cuddle, whatever. And I love seeing that. It's just such a beautiful highlight. It really takes you back to those days of like, that was just the best time. Honestly, it was the best time because of that video. Like, you're able to remember it a little bit more.
Yeah. And you can always watch those when you're pissed at time and be like, oh.
Yeah. Divorce is expensive. It's a good video too. You do though. You do. We look at it. Sometimes I just watch the little clip and I just go, oh, that's such a good time. And you really jumped straight into learning about Tom and I and asked some incredible questions about who we are as a couple and who we are as individuals. And you picked that up pretty quick. Even with Tom being away, you kind of were challenged with that too. But just going back to that whole thing of trust the people that you surround yourself with. And the other thing I'd also say is the questions and needs of those attending your wedding seem like a big deal at the time, but post wedding, if you ask them, hey, did you really need that? Or I'm really sorry we weren't able to do that. They go, oh, it's not even that big a deal. Yeah, it's like, how big a problem is this to this person if this doesn't happen? And how can I solve that without changing everything of what we want? So, my mum, bless, and I would confidently say this to her face, well, if you elope, you'll still invite me. No. No, okay, so we'll have a small wedding. Okay, but, and then we're having this small wedding and Tom's one of 100 at this stage in my mind when we're planning everything because his family's big. Okay, then we'll invite the same amount of people on our family size. Next minute, we're up to 100 people. And between Tom and I, we were like, we only wanted 50. So then we start culling. It's a really cruel process to go through. But if you don't do it, you'll miss out on other things or you'll not get the opportunity to have the wedding that you want. I think that is the biggest regret. And the regrets that I have about our wedding aren't the things that I go, oh, we shouldn't have spent that money or we shouldn't have done it that way. It's when I go, oh, it's not really what I wanted. I wish we did it how we thought about it or whatever it is.
And what were those things for you?
I think one of the things that I would have changed is my dress. And I was and this isn't anyone else's opinion getting involved. I think this is the nicest way, but I took like a couple of family members with me. I was like, oh yeah, it's a nice dress. Yep, cool. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then in my head, I got stuck off, oh, this is what they want. They like this dress. So I'm going to go with this dress. And I didn't even look at anyone else. Big purchase, not to look around more than once, I reckon. But you get caught up in thinking what everyone else wants is so important.
So yeah, like people pleasing through the whole process is so common with couples just because there's so much pressure and so many family and friends that have their opinion on what you should do and that like for you the time frame of planning everything from start to finish in 6 months and it wasn't just the wedding, like you had a pre-gathering and a post-gathering and so there was all this additional pressure and wanting it to be a certain way and then you're like, oh yeah, yep, tick that off the list and say yes to that and just keep them happy. And I remember you having a few family and friend dramas throughout the process that was really challenging for you and took center stage through the process and it really took the attention away from what the wedding was supposed to be. And I remember that we had a lot of discussions about like how to handle certain people because it's just so many dynamics and you can get really overwhelmed at the time because it's just so like high emotions throughout.
Yeah. You've got, and that challenge within your friends, there's no words for when you know you're going to hurt someone or disappoint someone or upset someone, because the decisions of what you can either afford or need or want. Like if you, for example, Tom has three brothers. We're like, well, we don't want to have a party of eight. We wanted a small and intimate. Let's just go with one. And then so I knew I was letting down family, I was letting down friends. And that was really, and you remember this, it was really, really hard. I think you even said to me a couple of times, have you called her? Have you called her? Like, not yet. Like, because it was that dreading, that knowing of the challenges that will come with those conversations. And it's not just about friends and families too. It can be so many situations where when you're reflecting down the time, like it wasn't, I don't think so much about the lead up or the wedding, or there's not one thing that I can go, oh, this was really this. It's been really hard to reflect on what I would do differently. But you do have certain things that you do remember, like friendship fallouts or family challenges or logistical nightmares of how is this all going to work, or they're the things that you don't want to consume too much of your time. It takes a lot to ruffle our feathers, and when they do, it sticks because you know you've been hurt or you've hurt someone, and that sucks.
Yeah, and it's not an easy fix of, oh, just don't worry about it, because it is very consuming at the time. And I find that with a lot of couples, they have fallouts either through the planning or afterwards. Like if you have a friend that is planning a wedding, it's such a monumental thing in their life. It's the same sort of thing as being pregnant. For somebody that hasn't been pregnant, they're like, oh, cool. But like in the wedding sense, it's so big, so much pressure to get it right. And when they're like, oh, but you didn't text me back, or you were mean that day,
Yeah.
that it's like, actually, like, just give me a break. Like, see what you can do.
You seem to be drowning at the moment. What's going on? Coming over, or I don't care if your house is trashed because you're working full time and you've got this going on and this going on and this all happening. I'm coming over. You need a break. Let's debrief. Let's map this out because it's not that big. Let's work it out.
It's just
being seen and heard.
Yeah, it's having rock solid support around you, because you need to be able to lean on people through the biggest moments of your life. And I guess it's almost a good thing too that it's weeding out the people that are just wasted space in your life too. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it's like years later, like it's been 7 years. And so you've had friendships falling out with family, you've like had issues and then mended relationships. So lots happened since then. And so when you look back on it, you're like, okay, well, that friendship actually didn't serve me. It was good for a season in my
They
life.
were fun to party with. We weren't who we thought we were for each other. Or that relationship, I've matured, they've matured, our paths are taken a different step, and that's okay. Yeah, so when you've got these friendships that evolve, and I remember with my maid of honor, Kayla, having this exact conversation with her. I was driving along and I went, I'm so sorry. I never understood how stressful planning a wedding was until I managed that. Neither did I until I was in it. So that's why your maid of honor is everything as well, like her understanding. And it's not just about, planning the best hens day, but someone having been married that goes, oh no, I understand. Hey, you've got all these people asking you to solve their problems. And then you throw in, and again, like our family issues, there weren't issues, but our family questions or pressures or anything like that were more about just solving the problems of getting them there, or how does that look, or that relationship developing, or understanding that not everyone and anyone can be there, or just those little things. But the friendship ones, when they don't understand or they don't want to put themselves into your shoes, because again, you've got 100 unanswered calls and you're just trying to tick a box, that's when I think you can really start to see you're either on my side or off my side. And it's so cruel to be so cutthroat on it. But if they're not bringing value and you're not bringing them value, why invite them to your wedding?
Post wedding, what surprised you about how you felt once it was all over? So like relief, nostalgia, or a weird emotional crash?
I was devastated to not be talking to you. I think you broke up with me 3 or 4 times every week for about how many years? 7 years. You've changed your number. I'm not even invited on this podcast, but here I am. The weirdest thing I never expected to happen is that the relationships you form with people over that either intense 6 months or intense 12 months or whatever it is, you miss them. It's a huge part of planning. It's like the change of season. You go, oh, what did I wear last summer? What did I used to do before wedding, like planning a wedding? Like it's this huge gap in your world of time consuming productivity that you had to do that you didn't realize it was consuming so much that now you've got all this time back. You're like, oh, I guess I will hang out with Tom. He seems nice. I haven't really spoken to you in the last 6 months. So, hey, it was a huge gap in my day. I actually probably became a lot more productive at work, which is good for them. But yeah, that was the one thing I was like, no one really explained how much time it naturally consumes. My favorite part of the wedding was the night before and the day after. The lead up to the wedding, I felt really like, ugh, this is like, just keep feeding me champagne, it'll be okay. I think you said, like, don't feed yourself too much champagne, please eat. That's one thing. Please eat because it's got a long day. But it wasn't about getting drunk, it was just more like that nerve, like you feel so uneasy because you've got so much pressure on all the things that you know that needs to be happening. And I trusted you endlessly. So to not have that person there, I can imagine getting caught up in taking phone calls, planning things, fixing things, all those questions that I just kept saying, ask Kiera, ask Kiera, ask Kiera. I think I even made you check the wedding invites. I'm like, is this the right address? Yeah, to not have you and then to be quite like you feel so anxious that you just eat, Ebony, make sure you eat or have this or time to go here. And then once the wedding was over, which I loved, that reception was a lot of fun too, but it was almost at the end of it like, oh, I can be me again, like that sort of, again, sense of relief, and we can go back to having fun and don't have to be the bride or that's because as much as it can be seen to be a peacock, like I actually don't like being the center of attention, and neither does Tom. Like, again, party goer, not thrower, but you just, that day before and the day after, it's just such a beautiful time to connect with your friends and family and just to enjoy hanging out with your people that are incredibly important to you and incredibly, like, I feel privileged to have those people attend our wedding, and I felt so overwhelmed with gratitude of the time and effort and the complexities it takes to get babysitters or to travel or to do everything. Because one, we've done it for other weddings, but also I didn't think people would do it for us. Like they'd be like, oh, okay, you guys, that sort of like, oh, like, I don't know. It was just a really weird thing. Like, we would do it for them. We know, like, it wasn't that they wouldn't do it for us, but it was like oh, you guys, stop. And to have them, yeah, and that next day, it was just so fun and so, like, memories of getting to spend with those people that attended your wedding. Because I feel like on your wedding day, and everyone will always say, make sure you take that 10 minutes with just your partner to go outside and connect with them. People still come and talk to you. Like, it's really nice, but they don't read the room, or like you're so spread thin because all of your favorite people are in one room.
And that's why destination weddings are so incredible, because you can have those multi-day thing, and I say to couples all the time, you're the guest of honor. You're not the host. You're not there to make sure everyone's fed and all the dietaries are looked after and everyone's happy and settled. You're there to have people celebrate your family coming together and celebrating this huge milestone in your lives. You don't get to have that day again. Everybody has such different experiences with all of the things that happen throughout the planning, and also people get in their heads about what a wedding should be. They should be, this is the most magical day of my life. Not to take away from that, of course, it is one of the biggest days of your life, but it's not a fairy tale. It's real life. It's raw. It's high emotion. It's real, and it's with all of your amazing people together. Things are going to go wrong, whether that's in the planning, whether that's with your families, friendships, hair pulling out because too many extensions.
The hair was so heavy. Remember, I wanted that sort of up style, like really loose, really like chilled, whatever. And Alex was like, you've just got a lot of hair. And I did, because I would always wear my hair down. So can someone remind me why I wanted my hair up when I always wear my hair down? Like, it was those little things. Oh, because from my mind, you're a pretty bride, your hair's up. Like, no, I always have my hair down. Why would I step away from who I am? You're so right. And I think just being true to, our wedding was hectic in the lead up and all those quick turnaround things. But I look now at the speed bumps of drama, for lack of a better term. And even though they stand out and they are a strong moment of memory throughout the planning, they weren't that big a deal. It was just big because you're probably exercising more, eating healthier, so you're not leaning into your good snacks. Not me. I think I used to say I'm really, really stressed. I'm just eating some gummy bears. I'm going to go have a nap and I'll call you back.
On that note, because we could just talk all day, I absolutely adore you, and here's to the next 8 years of absolute chaos, friendship, and the next 800 days of snap streaks. I just love you to bits.
Love you. It's amazing. Bye.